More than 200 French towns are battling to keep out floodwaters as the River Seine reaches its peak after weeks of heavy rains. Paris regional authorities say the floods have already caused damage in 240 towns as Paris itself suffers from the deluge, which has forced about 1,500 people to leave their homes and close the ground floor of the Louvre. In Villennes-sur-Seine, west of Paris, the ground floors of some buildings have disappeared underwater and residents are using boats instead of cars. In Paris, cruise boat companies are suffering losses because all river traffic has been banned for days. Police have also fined people taking to canoes on the Seine in central Paris, and sternly ordered others in a tweet against such actions, calling them totally irresponsible. The French capital remains on high alert as the Seine continues to swell and the Louvre prepares to close its doors amid the third wettest French winter in over a century. The river had risen 4.3 in over a period of 24 hours by Saturday evening, more than 13 feet above its normal height, causing problems for commuters as well as people living near its overflowing banks. Tourists suffered too with the capital's famous bateaux mouche rivercraft out of service, and only emergency services authorized to navigate the Seine. The Villennes flooding agency believe the river will continue to rise, peaking at 13.1 feet on Sunday night or Monday, but not quite reaching the 2016 high of 20 feet, when the Louvre Museum was forced to close its doors for 4 days. But the world's most visited museum was on high alert on Saturday, along with the Musée d'Orsay and Orangerie galleries, with the lower level of the Louvre's Islamic arts wing closed to visitors. Leaks started to appear in some basements in Paris on Friday, while some residents on the city's outskirts were forced to travel by boat through waterlogged streets. A health center in Paris's northwestern suburbs, where 86 patients were receiving care, was also evacuated on Friday. Michel Delpech, head of the Paris police body, told reporters that around 1,500 people had been moved out of homes in the Île-de-France region comprising the French capital and its suburbs. The waters will only go away slowly, added Delpech. Due to the spread of flooding to different tributaries, the level of the Seine in Paris will continue rising again on the weekend, said Villennes, adding that the highest level would last for about 10 hours before slowly going down. The extent of the rising water levels was evident from the Seine lapping halfway up the Swell statue of a Crimean soldier on the Pont de l'Alma bridge. It was enough to worry Jade Macedo, janitor at a residential building in Paris's upscale 16th arrondissement. There are 6 studios in the basement, and we've had to set up blocks outside to keep the windows from breaking and covering everything in water, he said. Inside the studios, tables and dressers have been lifted off the floor as water seeps through the walls. Outside, where the river was nearly lapping the tires of parked vehicles, a young woman said it was great to see ducks instead of cars. The December to January period is now the third wettest on record since data collection began in 1900, according to France's Meteorological Service. However, fears of flooding like that of 1910, which saw the Seine rise to 28 feet, shutting down much of Paris's basic infrastructure, appeared unfounded. More favorable weather is expected for the week ahead, and Vigicruise has lowered its warning level from orange to yellow in several areas upstream of the capital. But even once the water levels start to recede, forecasters and officials say it will be a slow process, since much of the ground in northern France is already waterlogged. If we're talking about things going completely back to normal, that's going to take weeks, said Jerome Goellner, regional head of environmental services. A main commuter line, the River Seine, has halted service at Paris stops until Wednesday, and some expressways that run alongside the Seine have been closed. In Paris, the Seine flows through a deep channel, limiting the potential flooding damage to riverside structures. But several areas on the city's outskirts are underwater, such as the southern suburb of Villennes-sur-Seine, where some residents were getting around by boat and dozens have been evacuated from their homes. In the south of France, heavy rains caused a breach in the water supply pipe of a holding tank on an oil platform in La Mede, near Marseille, on Saturday, French giant Total said. Contaminated water, not concentrated crude oil, had leaked, Total said in a statement.